Praise the Lord, and welcome to Fountain of Life Ministries, Wednesday's Word. I'm Minister Juan Hunter Jr., and our pastor is Elder Juan Hunter Sr. Today, I'm just excited altogether because of what God's doing inside of my life personally. Even though things seem bad and things seem like they're confusing or whatever, God is still in my life giving good reports. I thank him for that because he has been giving me good reports back to back. Even when I don't know what tomorrow is to bring, he's still making a way. He's still doing things in my life. I'm excited about that. I'm happy about that. He is the joy of my life. So tonight, what we'll be discussing is It's Time to Move. That's the title of tonight's Wednesday's word. It's time to move. In the book of Exodus, it talks about God delivering the children of Israel out of Egypt. In the midst of that, there was many different things that God was dealing with Pharaoh on, and then there was many different things that God was dealing with the children of Israel on as well. And the main person in there, it was many different things that God was dealing with Moses on throughout all of Exodus. But what I'm gonna talk about tonight and bring out in tonight is that a specific chapter, which is in chapter 14, is where God has already brung the children of Israel out of Egypt, and now they're encamped right at the sea, and Pharaoh is in the back of them, and the sea's in front of them, and they have nowhere to go. Well, it looks like they have nowhere to go, but how many of us on tonight believe that God will always make a way out of no way? And not only that, in the midst of them being encamped, and they see Pharaoh in the back of them, and the soldiers of Pharaoh of Egypt slowly moving forward to kill them, they began to get worried. Many times we get worried in our situations. Many times, because lately we've been, just to recap real quick, we've been talking about faith. For the past few weeks, we've been talking about faith and God building our faith, and then waiting on God during how we act during our wait. But tonight, we're still talking about faith, and is putting your faith in God that He'll bring you through, and trusting in His word of His promises that He had promised to you. So during this time when they was encamped, when the children of Israel was encamped, they began to be fearful. They began to be worried. Different things started transpiring. They started complaining, saying stuff like, Moses, you brought us to the wilderness to die. We could have just stayed in Egypt in slavery. And they rather died that way versus dying in the wilderness. But thing is, they didn't trust in God, because God from the very beginning has already shown and was working wonders in the beginning when they was in Egypt. And then even when he was bringing them out of Egypt, he was still working wonders and still protecting them and still showing them all these different things. Now, when did their confusion or whatever come about where they just started losing faith? I don't know. But at this point, when they was encamped and they went to Moses, they turned around and said, Moses, you brought us to the wilderness to die? But as they started saying that, that's when Moses turns around and talks to God. Before I get ahead of myself, I want to go ahead and just say about the different things that happen. Sometimes when we go to God, because Moses went to God, when we go to God, sometimes we get stuck in the petition. Sometimes we get stuck uh, in the request that we ask of God. Sometimes we get comfortable with just staying right there. And what we have to do, and during these times, many different things happen. We let our guard down, just different things. But we can't be stuck in that. We can't be stuck in just the questioning. I mean, just the asking God or the petitioning unto God for the request that we have. Thing is, we have to once we go to God and we've asked our petition, we've asked our request of whatever it is that we need or need Him to do. Once this happens, we need to act on it as if and trust that He's already gonna do it and that He's already done it. If you was to it says it in His word that He already knows every concern and every hair on our body. He's our daily raiment and just all these different things that He already knows. He knows the situation that you are in. He knows what you're going through. He's in control of it all. So because of that He's in control of it all, even if you was to turn to Matthew 21 and 22, it said, Jesus said in Matthew 21:22, in all things whatsoever ye shall ask in prayer, believing, that's the key thing in that, believing ye shall receive. Thing is, faith is believing the things that you have not seen yet, but it's also believing in God. You're having faith in God that He's going to perform what you're asking Him to do. You're not only just perform your request, but also if He's made promise to you, then you have faith that He's gonna perform that. In 1 John 5 and 14 through 15 says, verse 14 says, and this is the confidence, that's a real good word, confidence that we have in Him, that if we ask anything according to His will, He heareth us. And 15 says, and if we know that He heareth us, whatsoever we ask, we know that we know that we have the petition. We already have, it says right there, we have the petitions that we desire of Him. That's the thing. God has never forsaken us. He's always kept His promises before. And not only that, He never leaves us where we're at. He didn't leave the children of Israel where they was at. He didn't leave them in Egypt. He didn't leave them in this bad state. He didn't leave them there, because if He would have left them there, what God's goal through all of this was, and what He wanted to show was that He's Lord of all. He wanted to show not just the children of Israel that I am God, but also, and Lord, but He wanted to show that to the Egyptians that I am God and I am Lord, that He would also get the honor from them as well. He wanted to get the honor from everybody. He wanted to show everybody that He is God. But He never leaves us where we're at. That's the thing. He never leaves us in Egypt, or He never leaves us in the world, or He never leaves us in our situation, or He never leaves us in a bad state. He never leaves us in just whatever. He never leaves us there. Or a low state. He always puts us and progresses us and elevates us. If you was to turn to Proverbs 4 and 18, it says, but the path of the just is as the shining light that shineth more and more until the perfect day. That's the thing. He never leaves us right there. If we're walking towards him, if we're walking in righteousness, he's a progressive God. So he always elevating, he's always progressing, going towards next, giving us more, giving us more, giving us more. So because he doesn't leave us where we at, the children of Israel are stuck inside this what the world would say a rock and a hard place, because it looks like they're gonna die. They're at a point where they're fearful for their life. They're complaining, saying that we should have went back to Egypt. All these different things. They got the sea in front of them, and they got excuse me. And they got Pharaoh behind them. Pharaoh and his army behind them. Thing is, with that, with them in between their nowhere to go, they go to Moses and they say, "Hey Moses, why are you leaving us here? You brung us all the way out here to die." So then Moses goes to God, and when he goes to God, he's petitioning unto God, because Moses don't know what to do. Moses is only being used; he's just a vessel. But how many of us know that when we're in these positions where we don't know what to do, or we've already been trusting in God, we've already been using our faith, and we're still inside the midst of asking and petitioning unto God, God, please help us. God, please make a way out of no way. Well, we're still petitioning God, because he already said in Matthew 21 that whatsoever you ask and you believe in prayer, that you shall receive. Then he sets up new things to where now he wants you to move. Now it's time that you move by the Spirit. If you was to go to Galatians 5:25, it says, "We live by the Spirit. Let us also walk by the Spirit." When we're moving and walking by the Spirit guides us. The Spirit directs us. It shows us, tells us what to say. And it literally governs our life. So we have to always continue to stay in that, in the Spirit, in such a way that we're always adhering to the Spirit. And when the Spirit tells you to move, it's time to move. You've already took your petition unto God. Now it's time to move. You don't just stay where you're at. It's time to move. So, and when Moses had took the petition unto God, that's when God then instructs Moses. If you was to turn to Exodus chapter 14 and verse 15, this is what God says. God turns around and says, "And the Lord saith unto Moses, wherefore criest thou unto me?" He's asking him, why are you petitioning unto me? Why are you crying unto me? Then he turns around and tells him, "Speak unto the children of Israel that they go forward." It's time to move forward. It's time to move forward. God is saying, move. It's time to move. So when he turned around and said it's time to move, when we're moving towards the promise, sometimes God delivers us, he heals us, and he even works miracles and answers prayers. But he does that for that's not the ultimate promise. That's just the current promise. But he does that to motivate us or encourage us or to give us hope and to give us reassurance to move towards the ultimate promise, which is salvation. Because God has more in store for us, more than just oh, he wants us to be healed, or more than just he wants us to be saved and walk right. He has so much more for us. And he's made all these promises in our life. So, but the ultimate promise is the promise of salvation. The ultimate promise is the day that he comes back, the day that he calls his church up out of here, that you will be caught up as well, that and to go back with him and meet him in the sky. That's the ultimate promise, is that we have salvation with him. The ultimate promise is that. Some people, like, even though he works these miracles or he answers our prayers in these little promises, because these are little promises compared to the ultimate promise, he does that. Some people never even receive, they might receive the little promises, the multiple little promises that God does, but sometimes we don't even receive the ultimate promise. And the ultimate promise of salvation. Some people don't even receive the ultimate promise of salvation. They because he reigns over the just and the unjust, they will receive. He blesses them too. He blesses the unjust and the just. So they'll receive these little promises, but they won't receive the ultimate promise, which is salvation. God blesses us in so much. He blesses us in so many ways that he wants to give us hope. In these little promises that he gives, he wants to give us hope and reassurance, and not just hope and reassurance, but motivation and encouragement to, hey, I want to go just a little bit farther to make it towards the heaven. I want to go a little bit farther to make it towards him. I want to get closer to him. It's like he gives you some type of incentive or joy and just all these different things. It motivates you to want to go deeper into him. So when he's doing that and you are in your situation, because see, for the children of Israel, he had already delivered them. That was their small promise. He promised them that he was going to take them out of Egypt. He promised them that he took them out of Egypt. Now they're at the sea, and now it's almost like we want to go back to Egypt, or we rather be back in slavery than to die in the wilderness. But the thing is, God then turns around and told Moses to tell them, hey, stop petitioning unto me. Stop petitioning unto me. Now go back to them and tell them, move forward. It's time to move forward. Well, it's time to move. Keep going forward. And then not only that, when he told them to move forward, how many of us know that, and this is juicy right here. So get this. If you don't get anything else, get this. God gives us specific instructions on how to move forward. And then not only how to move forward, but how to make it to the ultimate promise, which is his salvation. His ultimate promise, which is salvation. He gives us specific instructions. Look what he did for Moses to move the children of Israel. And he gave Moses specific instructions to move the children of Israel to the ultimate promise, which is and this is all after they're complaining. This is all after they're saying that they'd rather go back to Egypt. This is, if you would turn to Exodus chapter 14 and 16, chapter 14 and 16, it says, he gave the instructions to Moses. Let me read 15 first so you can get it in the fullness. And the Lord said unto Moses, wherefore criest thou unto me? Speak unto the children of Israel that they go forward. Then in 16 it says, he continues to say, but lift thou up thy rod and stretch out thy hand over the sea and divide it. And the children of Israel shall go on dry ground through the midst of the sea. God makes a way out of no way. But just reading that, it just excites me even more that he makes a way out of no way. But not only that, he gives you specific instructions on how to get to the ultimate promise. His ultimate promise. His ultimate promise for the children of Israel during this time in Exodus was the promised land. Now, later on, of course, they end up, when they start complaining and doing all these other things, started worshiping other gods and stuff on the way to the promised land. God just then puts them leaves them in the wilderness for 40 years. But he's always a just God. Thank you, Jesus. He still is always blessing, because he said, you know what? I'm not going to cut you off, children of Israel. I'm not going to cut you off. This generation might not see it, but I'm going to still give that ultimate promise to your kids. God is still blessing us. Even when we don't deserve it, he still blesses us. I'm just excited about what God is doing right here and how he's saying it's time to move. God is telling this. Just in this little segment, because that's all I got for y'all today. I'm just, that's all I got today. But I want y'all to really know it's time. God's saying it's time to move. It is time to move. It's time to move towards the promise, his ultimate promise for you. He's still, but then he's still just to the unjust, and he's still fair to the unjust and just, that he's still going to give you those small promises. He's still going to make a way, because he still delivered the children of Israel. Then if I read even farther down, he also, and I didn't even know this until I read more of it, after he gave Moses this instruction, during this time, this was at nighttime. So after he gave him this instructions, the angels, he had angels kept out all around about them that separated Pharaoh from the children of Israel. He's still blessing them. In the midst of, you see death right behind you, even when you looking at it, he's still blessing you. Like literally, he's still protecting you and everything. He delivered you. That was a small blessing. Because the ultimate blessing was his ultimate blessing for the children of Israel was the promised land in Exodus. That was his ultimate promise. So, but at the same time, he's been working all these little bitty blessings out in their life throughout that time period to get them to the promised land. He delivered them. He protected them. He not only that, he's still talking to them. Like, he's talking to Moses. He's still giving them instructions. He's still guiding them and still directing them. Come on. And then he makes a way out of no way. Don't be like the children of Israel. They was ungrateful. There was a lot of things we could say about the children of Israel, but at the same time, we need to keep our faith in God. We need to keep our faith in God at all times. Even through the midst of our storms, our tests, our trials, our tribulations, our temptations, whatever it is, we have to trust in him, because know this, he is still blessing you. If you woke up this morning, he's still blessing you. He said it in his word in Matthew 21:22. Whatsoever ye shall ask in prayer, believing, this is Jesus talking. This is from Jesus's mouth. Believing ye shall receive. He's still blessing you. I don't know about you, but we blessed in the city. He's still blessing us. The Lord is blessing me right now. Oh, right now. But he woke me up this morning. I'm sorry, I'm not even going to go into we'll end up having a praise service here in a little bit. It won't even be a Wednesday word anymore. But just know God is still blessing you. He's still making ways out of no way. Believe in him, trust in him. Put all of your faith wholeheartedly into him, because he is going to make a way. And then not only that, because he's been faithful for you in the past and now and what he's going to do, also stay on the path of righteousness, that we make it, that we make it, endure to the end, that we make it, that we keep pushing towards the end, that we make it to his ultimate promise. It's time to move. We've already prayed. We've prayed, and we've prayed some more. I was going through something last week where I did not know how God was going to make a way, because I believe God's going to, and how are you going to make this way for me? How are you going to do this? And last week, when I did not know how he was going to do it, I prayed constantly. I mean, it was just this, and it was the same prayer. And then he brung this. It's time to move. I done asked him, I don't know how many times, probably a million times. I don't know how you're gonna do it, God, but I need you right now. I need you. Look, it's time to move. That's the exact words that he told Moses. Why are you petitioning unto me? Why are you crying out to me? Tell the children of Israel, move forward. It's time to move forward. Let's move forward. He's got us. He's a lamp and a guide unto our feet. He's got us. He's a lamp unto our path. For real. He's got us. He preordained your life. He predestined it. He's the author and the finisher. I mean, he's got you. He's got you. He's always had you. He's got you. But thank y'all for tuning in. I love y'all so much. Please tune in on Friday for Miss the First Lady Hunter. She will be doing her Bible study on Friday. And you're always welcome inside the church. We're open. Come in and fellowship with us. 1234 South Floyd Street. And service starts at 11:30. I don't know when it's going to end. Whenever the Lord says it's over, it's over. But, so you know how it goes. But you always welcome to come fellowship. And also join the prayer call. And stay strong. God bless you. Love y'all. Be blessed.